Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leveling Up Biomedicine Ecosystem workshop and presentation by Ministry of Economics. I'm Ieva Siliņa. I'm proud to be part of Ministry of Economics family. And first, let me introduce our wonderful panelists we're having here today. First, we have Agrita Kiopa, Vice-Rector for Science, Rīga Stradiņš University. Morning. And then we have Raimonds Lapiņš, Deputy State Secretary of Economic Development, Business Competitiveness and Innovation of the Ministry of Economics of Latvia. Then we have our international guest of honor, Terje Peetso, a member of the Management Board of North Estonia Medical Centre. Welcome, Terje. And then Dace Dimza-Jones, Deputy Head of Northern Powerhouse Life Sciences, Biotechnology and Pharmaceuticals Department from Manchester, UK. Welcome, Dace. The purpose of the session is to generate ideas for boosting Latvian biomedicine ecosystem and discuss pros and cons for funding research with commercialization potential. So I do invite audience also to raise your hands in case you have any comments or questions. We'll take them in terms of our discussion. And for all the people watching us online, please feel free to contact the Ministry afterwards after the event. We will start with practice abroad and then turn to Latvia, which is like main focus point of today's discussion. So I welcome Dace Dimza-Jones to share her presentation, Excellence-Driven Commercial Research Ecosystem. Welcome, Dace.
Thank you so much for having me. It's absolutely pleasure to be here in the university where I used to study, so it's true honor. And excellence, where does it start? I think for this event it started last night when we all came together and we have fantastic discussion. And if there is one thing that I want to for you to remember after my speech is that it all starts with networking. So today, what I really want to ask you, when I will present, please feel free to stop me, ask any questions. If something is not clear, please, I would love if you interrupt me. And today I would like to demonstrate my experience and expertise, where I'm from and what you can gain from me. I'm open to collaboration, and if you see something on the slides that touch you professionally, personally, please feel free to reach out to me. I will leave my email details there, and also please feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. And also, audience online, if there are any questions, please pop them in a chat, and I hope our colleagues will communicate that back to me. So, about myself, I am Deputy Head of Northern Powerhouse Life Sciences. I have a very, very long title. I've been in my new role for about 3.5 weeks. Can't even remember my new role, but in essence, I'm life science specialist, and I look after life science sector in north of England, so it's Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield. By the way, if you are planning to come to Eurovision Song Festival in Liverpool next year, please contact me, because that's one of my cities I look after. Ooh, did I press something? Can I continue, if that's all right?
Continue on.
Yeah, not a problem. I will tell you a little bit more about, maybe about my experience. For about 12, 13 years, I was part of NHS. Do you know what NHS is? It's National Healthcare System in the UK, in different roles. But 4 years I spent together with National Institute of Health and Care Research, NIHR, for short, and I looked after specifically for commercial research delivery, and I worked with big pharma and large CROs, contract research organization, and my duty was to attract more commercial research to Greater Manchester area, and I will talk about that expertise. And just before COVID hit, I developed my own NGO, and as I feel very strongly part of Latvian community, but I live in the UK, we developed an organization called Diaspora Nurses and Midwives Association. For us, it's quite important that we develop agile nursing force that's focused on research and innovation. And I also am guest lecturer at the University of Riga Stradiņš University. So you can't see my slides, but I will continue. And the question for you, when we talk about excellence-driven commercial research ecosystem, there is no right or wrong question, but I will ask you, what's the most important ingredient when it comes to commercial research ecosystem? What do you think? Any answers?
I think it's right up your alley.
High quality research.
Perfect, very good answer. Anything else? I will tell you from my experience and expertise what comes first. And if I can switch the slide. For me, when it comes to excellence-driven commercial research ecosystem, I always put my patient first. Because for about 7 years, I was quite clinical. I worked a lot with patients. And when I think about innovative ideas, when I think about what kind of research I want to bring in for my population, I always bring my patient first. But in essence, in the UK, what we understand is this like golden triangle. And when we talk to bring more commercial research into our hospitals, GP practices, social care institutions, is we need to think about our healthcare system, how we can interact with our healthcare system, how healthcare system can work close together with academia, universities, and also industry partners. And if we get the balance right in this golden triangle, then I can reassure that there will be excellence-driven commercial research ecosystem. And why patient first? Why patient is so important? You probably, if you haven't applied for our NIHR grants or European Union grants, then I will tell you one thing why many organizations and companies fail to secure funding is that they don't think about the patient. And one of the things when I speak with startups or industry, I always ask what kind of initiatives you have taken to put patient at the center of your research. Quite important when we talk about our organizations is to involve in decision-making patient advocacy groups. And in the UK, we call it PPI, patient public involvement. And it's quite important for me, and my ambition in the future is that when we develop research ideas, we actually go out to our population and ask what our patients need and what they want. And by this approach, I don't think in the long term, an ethical way, you can go wrong. And here about the UK, how the government actually can help to facilitate excellence-driven commercial ecosystem. And here, quite interesting read. If you have some spare time, I would strongly suggest you to go online and read Life Science Vision. It's published by the UK government. It's published in 2021, and it is our government's ambition how to work closely with NHS, with the healthcare system, with the industry to implement high quality care, and what kind of role innovation plays in that. But here money also, we have Ministry of Economics here, money also plays really, really important role because government has to recognize that there need to be funding in place to drive economic and agile research. And UK's ambition is by 2027 to include invest about 2.4% of GDP in research and innovation. I think in Latvia we talked. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it was ambition to invest 0%. Am I right, Raimonds?
0.4, yes.
All right. So we probably have a long way to go, but even for UK to achieve 2.4%, it's going to be a long way, but that's the ambition. And I think we have to lobby and we have to have open conversations with the government that it's really, really important. And when we look at the data globally, then the first, when it comes to expenditure to R&D, is USA, and we as a country globally, UK is in the second place. But we kind of aspire to follow USA example. And what, again, from the health and politics aspect, what we need to make sure that we make our country desirable to do research. And for the UK, when you speak globally with a lot of countries, people want to come to the UK and do research with our clinical organizations. And we are in G7, we are one of the most desirable and most innovative countries to do research. And we invest quite a lot of money for research and innovation, but we also are able to attract a lot of foreign direct investment. So we are able to attract new startups, big pharma, to base their business in the UK and facilitate collaboration with universities, which results in better opportunities for patients to take part in research studies. And a little bit about my role. Like I said, I haven't been with the organization for too long, just 3.5 weeks. But the Department for International Trade, again, if you are a startup, if you are a company, and if you desire access what UK has to offer, please feel free to have a discussion with me. Because what we do, Department for International Trade, we not just negotiate trade deals, but we also, for foreign investors, we provide environment for you to invest, to come to the UK. We provide quite good tax system, so you can open your headquarters or your organization in the UK. But what comes with that is that we have quite a lot of financial resources as well. So we have venture capital funds available for you to gain access. We also fund research. So let's say if you can't get funding in this country, then we would be more than happy to welcome you in the UK and set up your business there, because there is quite a lot of mechanisms how we can help you. And also we have very thriving life sciences ecosystem, which is quite important in certain therapeutic areas. And we have one of the best universities globally. You probably have heard about Cambridge and Oxford, but in my region that we cover, we have Liverpool Tropical School of Medicine. We also have Manchester University, we have Sheffield Hallam University. So these universities also for the research and innovation collaboration is really, really crucial part. Here, what I want to talk is, I want to tell you a little bit about what kind of support NIHR offers to industry, academics, and NHS. And please, again, if you have some spare time, look into the NIHR's offering how you can benefit. And National Institute of Health and Care Research, it's funded by Department of Health and Social Care, and the British government invests about £1 billion. I can't quite know how many euros it is, but it's quite significant amount of the money to deliver research. And NIHR infrastructure is built of all these. So sorry, I'm going away from the microphone. All these different organizations. So you can approach us. If you have research idea, if you don't even have a protocol, we will have organizations there from very, very early phase to help you. We will have such organizations as Biomedical Research Centre, Clinical Research Facility. What I really want to talk today is about the NIHR Clinical Research Network and how that can help you. And all this help through NIHR for you is free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything. We offer help to clinicians, scientists, industry, CRO, and we can help you from the stage when you have research idea, when you're looking for organizations that you want to collaborate. We can fund potentially your research study, and all this support is free of charge. And how the NIHR works. So we used to be called Research Delivery Arm of NHS, and our aim was to improve the health of population, but also wealth. Because if the population is going to be healthier, they're going to be wealthier as well. So it's quite important to focus on the economic aspect as well. And this is something that I hope that one day maybe Latvia can follow with this investment in the research infrastructure. And how CRNs or clinical research networks work is that they are scattered across England. There are 15 local clinical research networks that look after research, commercial research and academic research delivery across England, and they support both academic research study delivery, commercial research study delivery in secondary care hospitals, in primary care GP practices, and social care. So research goes beyond the borders of hospitals. So research is translated out to hospices, care homes, schools, and even prisons. And it's quite significantly after COVID pandemic happened is that research doesn't always happen in hospital. What we need to do as academics, as professionals, to try to do our best to bring research closer to our population where they live. And that's actually a big challenge for the UK as well. And these are the standard clinical specialties where we deliver research. So it's oncology, genetics, surgery, public health. And in all these areas, we have local and national expertise. So if you have any research idea, let's say in dermatology or ophthalmology, again, please feel free to get in touch with me, and I can link you up with those specialists that would be more than happy to have a chat with you. And like I said before, all the support that NIHR provides is completely free of charge. And you probably, as a young startup, you may want to ask actually how much money my research study will cost in the UK. And that's again something that we can help you. We can help you with your costing templates. If you're applying for NHS, NIHR, charity research grants, we can help you with the costs. Also, something that works in Latvia healthcare setting may not always work in the UK. So it means that sometimes you may want to help with translating research protocols into the UK. This is again something we can help you free of charge. Maybe here you may lack expertise in certain therapeutic areas. We got this covered, so we can put you in contact with academics, clinicians, and also, quite importantly, patient-public involvement groups. When you want to make your research more public-facing, there is again focus groups free of charge you can access. You can get patients' perspective on your research. It's really, really crucial. And going forward, why do we really need commercial research? Why we can't just rely on academic research? And why commercial research is really, really important is that it provides groundbreaking opportunities for our research patients, because not always everything is covered by academic research. So in the UK, we sometimes in certain therapeutic areas, we quite rely on commercial innovations. And commercial research bring fantastic education and training opportunities for doctors and for nurses and for research staff. And also by doing research, commercially funded research, you bring quite a lot of money to your hospital or to your university. And what that means, that this money can be then invested to grow your research workforce. You can invest that money buying, let's say, -80 freezers, so you can get involved in more early stage research studies, and you can invest in your research infrastructure. And by doing commercial research, it can help you to kind of be at the front of the global research ecosystem. It can help you to build research reputation, which is really, really important. And doing and being involved in commercial research, it also helps to secure next stage commercial research opportunities. And here is just the example about what we've done in the north of England. And I have really, really big challenge, because I'm from the north, and north in England is not the poshest part, because when the big companies want to base their research opportunities, they all go to Golden Triangle, Oxford, Cambridge, or London. But for me, it's kind of trying to convince pharma that in North England, it's better. It is better because from the ethical point of view, North of England, our population is not as wealthier, they are not as healthier. We have quite a lot of health inequalities, specifically when it comes to oncology, cancers, respiratory disorders, renal problems, diabetes, cardiovascular conditions. We have more problems in North. And what that means is if the company wants to come in the country and recruit well for their research protocols, they actually need population that are not healthy. Because if everyone is going to be healthy, they won't fit research protocols. So in that sense, North of England, we are really, really good in position. What else industry is looking? They're looking for key opinion leaders. Sometimes when I ask big companies, why did you choose London's hospital? And what they sometimes answer is that we Googled it. And that's quite an important thing that if you want to be key opinion leader in your specific therapeutic area, you need to get your reputation out. You need to get your brand out. You need to build virtual presence. So when someone decides to Google you, they can find you. And this is something that we try to build in the North for our key opinion leaders, that they are as good as key opinion leaders in London, Cambridge, and Oxford. And we kind of are in competition constantly, but we are really, really proud about the national decentralization processes, because what our government has done, many large organizations that are crucial key players on the life science ecosystem, such as MHRA, NIHR, NICE, they bring them out of London and they establish their presence in the North. Also, we in the North, we are really, really proud that we have largest NHS trust in the UK. And Manchester Foundation Trust, again, interesting if you want to Google. And Manchester University NHS Foundation Trust employs about 27,000 people, so it's huge. And again, it opens up quite a lot of opportunities for research. In our region, we have quite strong academia. We have excellent universities, and this is something, again, which we try to capitalize of our academic excellence. And here you can see the graph. About 75% of our research is still academic, but working together with local government institutions, what we try to do, we're trying to bring more industry-funded research to our region. And then again, we have quite a lot of industry presence. Again, if you want to be on working on commercial trials, you need to make sure that industry is by your side. So we have life science parks across our region where quite a lot of big pharma based, large CROs, new startups, digital health representation, and we've got that in region. And also we have ability to run from phase 1 research studies to phase 4 research studies. We've got that capacity here. And I wrote an article about Northern Diamond, because London, Oxford, Cambridge, they call themselves Golden Triangle, but I think we needed something about North, and we kind of use a little bit of marketing and called ourselves Northern Diamond, and maybe something Latvia can copy-paste. And there is some kind of short, catchy phrase that you can use when you go out globally and when you interact with big players in life science ecosystem. And just to to continue with my presentation, conducting successful commercial research and industry collaboration. Okay, what is quite crucial is about time is an essence, and when you want to attract commercial opportunities, make sure that you are quick. This is something that I would say that UK, because of so many, again, going back to your presentation, Raimonds, about so many hands we need to shake, to set up research study actually takes long time. But for pharma, every time when their innovation can't go to the trials, it costs them a lot of money. So I think in this position, Latvia is quite good because everything can happen really, really quick. And the digital maturity of the professionals here as well is quite high. So use time as your ally. Another quite important metric when it comes to commercial success is measurement to time and target. So if you can provide evidence that you can recruit in a quick way to your commercial trials, then again, pharma will come and return to you. And make sure when you pick commercial opportunities, you think again about your population and you pick right research studies. So making sure that you know your population and knowing that you will be able to recruit successfully. And again, think about the diversity that you, in your research studies, that you think not just about the population across Riga, but you involve people from Talsi, Daugavpils and other regions. It's quite important to have this diversity, and and build a relationship. And I can talk hours about this subject. It's very close to my heart. But again, I hope I can bring these discussions after my session. And my last one is here. Again, use networking as a key to build strong bridge between the academic institutions, commercial organizations, and utilize opportunity of social media. If you publish, if you do really good research study, or if you have built really good relationships with Roche or AstraZeneca, put that on social media, tag appropriate organizations in, because the social media can help you to reach audience beyond your country's borders, so utilize that. And that's about it. That's my slides. And like I said, I would be more than happy if you get in touch with me. I had quite limited time to fit everything in 15-20 minutes, but this is the commercial ecosystem. It's really, really close topic to my heart, and I would be more than happy to have much deeper conversations after with you. And if there is anything I can help you with, please don't be shy, just come and approach me.
Thank you, Dace. It was a wonderful presentation. Already gathered quite a bit of advice for Latvia, but I'd like to ask you, Terje, please comment. What do you think of situation in UK? How it's different to Estonia? What could we take home from your experience on patient experiences and overall?
Thank you. Well, it's, how can I say, 60 times different. We are just so small. Estonia is 1.3 million citizens. I come from the biggest hospital in Estonia, so you can imagine that the biggest hospital in Estonia compared to the biggest hospital in the UK, it's just completely two different worlds. But there are some similarities as well, because I think that everybody wants to attract the research for the main reason. I absolutely agree with you that the patient comes first, because what we do, the research in our hospital very often is patient-oriented in a sense that it can help a patient, in particular oncology patients, in the areas where the medicine is otherwise not available in the Estonian market. So that is that often comes through clinical trials. Not necessarily the third phase, could be the fourth phase as well, because that contributes already to something that we know and is a value-adding test. What I would say, I like this Googling, but it's not very difficult to compare the Googling of the Estonians with UK people. But we don't have so much problem with the finance, but we have a problem with money. Time.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem with time, because sometimes we are not a university hospital, first of all, but we, in our strategy plan, we claim that we are teaching and learning hospital. So we have quite a number of students, nursing college and the medical students from Tartu University, as well as Erasmus students, and a lot of people who come for a training on something specific that they can learn in our hospital. That is all time-consuming, because if we take into account the fact that I think that Latvia has the same problem. You don't have enough nurses. We are going to get more and more problem with some special doctors. So in order to meet the necessary needs of patients who needed real diagnostics or treatment or follow-up, to put on top of that the research, that is an issue, really. We are now getting also the European research funding into our hospital, which is good, because UK was the biggest receiver of EU money. I don't know now what it is. Is UK supporting Horizon Europe or not? I don't know. But in the past, it was the biggest receiver. So a lot of research money goes to Western Europe compared to Eastern Europe. I don't know how is it in Latvia. But when I am looking about this funding, the proposals or those who get funding, European funding, it is mostly the Western European countries who are there. So we have to get in there. But that means we really have to work in writing the proposals, which will not necessarily be funded. So it's completely waste of time and an effort. And then when you get this funding, you also have to think where you get the people who will do the job. So these are the struggles that we are facing almost every day, but nevertheless, I would say that we do the best. We also have our own doctors and nurses initiated research, sometimes not funded at all. We have our own hospital funding system, however, where they can get paid for 1 month's scientific work in the hospital. We have an innovation fund from the Health Insurance Fund. They also support, but that goes to the innovation, which is sometimes linked to the research, but not necessarily. And then, of course, the funding that comes from Europe, because for the Estonian Research Fund, we do not have an access unless somebody from our doctors is a researcher at the university hospital, because you have to be a research organization to ask the money from there. So there are limitations, but there are always opportunities. And I would say that it is easier sometimes to find money than a person.
Thank you. Raimonds, how is the situation in Latvia? What about biomedicine ecosystem and innovation fund? And could you please give us insight?
Yes. There is, I think that, can I assume that in NHS is the same problem? There is not enough people.
Absolutely.
Yes, and do you see that any opportunity in next 50 years that there will be enough people?
Potentially, but what we do in the UK is that unfortunately after Brexit we lost quite significant amount of actually nursing delivery staff, which in the UK was key players when it comes to commercial research delivery. But what UK quite actively is doing, they go out to the other countries, such as India, Pakistan, traditionally, and they recruit overseas nurses to come to the UK. I don't know if Latvia has similar strategies. It's very difficult because Latvian language is pretty specific and it's not so easy to learn. But we have significant issues with nursing workforce. And what I wanted to say about the researchers then from a previous role, it's similar that, that sometimes there is money, but there is no workforce. And many of the research activities that my colleagues, professors, doctors, consultants, nurses did, they kind of did it out of their working hours. Sometimes we had very, very long days and nights working, and it's up until midnight, after midnight, because certain things has to be submitted, and not always you have this ability to fit everything in working hours. And sometimes I think, and this is my personal opinion, that actually in the UK, in certain parts, research is driven by certain individual enthusiasm. And it's not always reimbursed money-wise and time-wise. But can I just take opportunity?
And it is not sustainable.
And it's not sustainable, yes, because, enthusiasm might run out. But what I wanted to say again, I had the pleasure to interact with Estonian companies 2 weeks ago. We hosted Estonian delegation medtech startups in Leeds. And can I just say my appreciation for your ecosystem, because I truly admired, even with my UK hat on, about the innovation that shine through your companies, academics and clinicians. It's absolutely fantastic. And here I will just drop idea to audience. Maybe there's something that we can actually team up with our colleagues from Estonia and do something research-wise, something meaningful together.
Oh, definitely we are taking Estonia like example for us. But
Clearly.
returning to Latvia.
But we are returning to my question, and then we can cover all countries. Yes, everybody is doing things, but we will clearly in 50 years will be no point where we can sit down and say, yes, there is enough stuff working in healthcare system, and this is huge opportunity. It's huge opportunity, and this is around what is built Latvian ecosystem. These models which we talked a little bit earlier about automatization and digital tools clearly is one of the part of the ecosystem's focus development. It's automatization of all possible things which is going on in healthcare. Secondly, everything related to distance treatment of patients clearly is second part. And third part, which I think that was already mentioned by colleagues in there, it's for us the only way forward in these ecosystems is clearly excellence in specific fields. So this specialization is clearly our focus. For us, ecosystems, and I completely agree that patient is in focus point, but that's why it's so important in ecosystem. Again, it's so important to have appropriate partners. So companies have to have clients and think about clients. Scientists, when they think about development, scientific development, they clearly have to think about, again, client who will be using this tool. So in this sense, from our perspective, this always under capitalized in human capital systems is real opportunities for small companies, for small countries which actually we don't have a choice. It's clear that even if Canada and the United States and United Kingdom can't support enough big healthcare system, then countries like Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania never will be able with just the same system. So it means that this innovation and all the developments, what we see strong developments in this region, both in Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia, these perfect cases, companies are in diagnostics, automatization of diagnostics, they are in automatization of decision making, and they are in automatization or distance accessibility of high quality practitioners, doctors, and all other. So this is where we are at this stage in our ecosystem. Systemic building. Yes, again, the same as with human capital. Of course, we are saying that we will building systems, but we have to keep in mind that, and this is what we have done already for 20 years, building systems, you will, even with the best system, you can't avoid dealing with individuals. And it means that these breakthroughs, and I repeating it for myself too, with these breakthroughs and innovations will be done by people who is underfunded always and who don't have enough. And again, it means that system is nice, but you need institution which is actually knowing person by person who is in your country is doing research. And again, there is benefit of small country. It's possible. In Latvia case, it's possible for Latvian Estonia Development Agency take a phone book and call each of these persons and ask them around the table and do the strategy for the government. And this is what we are building, and it's more and more is showing that this brings to specialization. If, I don't know, 10 years ago, 3 countries, Baltic countries, are very similar. When you look from away on these countries, it seems that we're doing the same. When you look at technicalities, actually what is done in research and actually what is done in small companies, they're doing very specialized things. And that's why your invitation to cooperate is completely agree. This is the strongest part. And I would be glad, yes, there in locally, in each of these countries, yes, there is science parks, there is incubators, there is industrial parks. There could be a time when we will start to discuss between the countries model where actually we have mutual or cooperation industrial science and incubation programs. I think that this will be a next topic for, let's say, 2-3 years, where these countries start to realize that we don't compete. We actually are quite complementary.
Where does this innovation fund comes into this?
Yes, sorry, I just forgot
kind of
the
overview of
most important thing where, yes, we are, as I always say, why I like my job, because I smell of money. The point is that government is yes, we are working in this individual level when we are bringing and helping build consortiums, but we have this another role to build a consortium and start research. In Latvia case, it's in economics is dead simple. We don't have a choice. We just want, and this is nice in economics. It's quite often that you have so many choices you can choose. In our case, whatever we do, there is only one way. It is investments in innovation. We have tried and we have do economics research. There is no options. We can't be 10 million inhabitants in Latvia, so it means that this growth is impossible. We can't cut twice as many forests as it is. It's just impossible. We have to sell what we have twice as expensive as it is today. And so the innovation is only path. We hit very hard in the face when we start to think in this way, is that there is, again, very simple investments. It's human capital. We need to train people to do things and to be smarter. And it goes down to very simple things in university. We have to invest in university faculty. They have to deliver programs which are top-notch and as possible. And second part, it is research. We can invest and we are investing in innovation support for the companies, but if it's not supported by science excellence in national level, it's a waste of money. These companies, yes, they can do innovations, but they can't jump over their asses, sorry to say. They need to have boost from science part if they want to deliver really competitive products globally. So, and that's why Ministry of Economics not typically, it's not typical our job. We created innovation fund where actually the innovation part is just a vision. The majority of this money goes to really science, but it goes not to science because it's in Latvia case is typically 2 fundings for science. One is basic funding, base funding, which means that government giving money and actually don't care what is the result. So it's scientists' decision where they are moving. It's very good for science, but it's very hard to sell it when you have to need additional money. Then another one, which is easy on sales, but hard on development, is project funding, European type. 3-4 years, in Latvia case 1-2 year. At the end you have a product, but the problem with this is that you can't build science. You can't have a legacy, you can't develop new doctor studies, new curriculum and so on. So this middle was done by this innovation instrument. So we actually are funding 10-year and building fusers that we can fund 10-year projects with consortiums of universities, not any that any local university can take 10-year research for fusers. So it's consortium that actually they define final goal, but they can count on governments that will be funding this for 10 years and then only see results. In such a way we kill both rabbits with one shot. We have long-term research basis and we have a possibility for industry to follow up and pick up things which are coming out for innovations. So this is a focus for government, for I think that for next several years.
So the keywords are long-term and flexibility, right?
Yes, long-term, clearly flexibility, and third one is that we are adding industry support mechanisms that they are picking up on the way, things which can be commercialized.
Agrita, what's your opinion of Innovation Fund and overall how this system should be funded?
Thank you, Ieva. I kept listening to all the speakers and thought what I can add as a university representative. Riga Stradiņš University, we are a university of Ministry of Health, so we are part of a health ecosystem in that we both produce doctors and nurses, and we also produce research. And then, you both, colleague from Estonia and colleague from UK, you mentioned that people are important, time is important, and also excellent research. You said excellent research is important. So we are trying to participate in all available instruments that are in Latvia. We do research that is funded through Ministries of Education, Fundamental and Applied Research Program. We participate in all government programs that are sometimes dedicated to health issues. We participate in Innovation Fund. And wherever we go, we try to kind of get that funding that is out there linked to our ecosystem, linked to the needs of our patients, because in our university, we are mainly a medical school, so our faculty members many times are also doctors, so they have their patients, they know what is a burning issue at their hands, and they often do exactly what was said already. They volunteer their time and do the research because they see the need. So I think I really applaud the initiative of the Innovation Fund, but I must say it's not enough. My greatest hope walking out of this forum and meeting probably next year would be that we could expand the reach of the Innovation Fund and cover also areas that we discussed in this forum here, that we probably make a couple of the next steps where if we develop the markers now through this first program, first projects, then we can see how we can implement them and maybe cover more areas. But in addition to that, I think when I say it's not enough, we should be lobbying and thinking about also funding that comes, very targeted funding that comes from our Ministry of Health in a similar way that it was shown in a presentation in UK, where all the major illnesses that the society faces are researched from the perspective of Ministry of Health, because Ministry of Health has its health policies where the health prevention is the core, not the economic development, not the new methods and devices or economic some benefit, but exactly the understanding the population, which is also something that you said. And we are here to provide this, digitally mature workforce and participate and do the job.
Thank you. As our time together is slowly running out, my last question to all the panelists. If you had one wish to grant for biomedicine ecosystem in Latvia, what would that be? Just in a few words so the golden fish can understand. Could you, Dace, please start?
I will start with amazing talent that you have here in Latvia, and don't be shy, but your students and researchers, clinical academics, what you said, which is quite important for research, that you have the both sides, you have academic side and you know your patients. Utilize that and be proud what you've got, because I said I met the Estonian companies last week, and you have the talent, and in Latvia we have saying that the clever person can brew the soup out of eggs. And here as well, from many of the researchers, I can see that you don't have money, you don't have time, but somehow from very few ingredients, you can come up with fantastic research ideas. And appreciate government, university, academia, please appreciate your talent and utilize that.
Thank you. Terje?
I had another idea, but now when I am asked what Latvia should do, then I just rephrase my thoughts, because that is what we have to do in Estonia, and I am quite sure that Latvia has the same tasks. I think we have one resource that we could use much better, and that's patients. I think patients could contribute to the research, not passively as they do until now, but get actively involved. For that, we have to invest in the health literacy and the digital skills. And that means that we can bring in all these wonderful words like patient-reported outcome measures, patient-reported incidents, patient-reported experience, and bring them as part of the research, because I absolutely agree, patients sometimes have other objectives than the researchers and clinicians. But it doesn't hurt at all to bring them together, or sometimes really focus on patients. And another thing that I find the most important thing on the 21st century, we have to make our data interoperable, good quality. We have to standardize them. And then we will be, as Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Nordic countries, all Europe, keeping in mind this European health data space developments, that we can actually, in the research world, with this data that we already have, but it is so sparsely everywhere and not talking to each other, these databases, that we could bring this data into the next level, and that is such a resource for research that we haven't really properly used.
You're right. Thank you. Raimonds?
Yes, it's if it would be really a goldfish, then probably my wish would be a little bit different. But the thing which you already touched on data, if I see now in Latvia this critical point where actually we have to hit, and then a lot of things will change, then is on law on data reusability. It's not a great in terms of wishes that it change will everything, but it will move forward a lot of things. And then the second would be that when we have this law locally agreed on, then in the next day I would be sit down with Lithuanians and Estonians and have the same laws in their countries and start to figure out where we are different and find how to adjust these three. But if I would have really a goldfish, then for us I would like to have, as a miracle, that for 1 year we can focus on one thing and just do it, and then follow next one. It's the hardest. It's in biomedicine specifically, it's too many. It's so many things where we actually can attach our focus that it's very hard to see the progress forward. It's the hardest. It is progress, but it's slow because we are doing all the things at once, and it is important. I
think it's a dream of every person working in government, isn't it? Agrita, please, your wish.
Yeah, well, I think I will go for goldfish. I want 2% of healthcare budget allocated to research. And you know that's just normal.
Why healthcare budget? Take the GDP 2%.
No, but you know I'm not making a joke here. The reason why, if we link the respective budget, that is either it's health, either it's forestry, or it is I don't know, the environmental protection. If there is a area that we are talking about, there should be a percentage that is dedicated to the research that is specific to this area and responds to the needs of this area. If we define in Latvia that our priority is, let's say, heart or mental diseases or general diseases or infection diseases, then to tackle those issues, we need a solid knowledge base. We need experts that can actually participate in answering to those needs. And also then Raimonds have on what to build, and he can choose the topic of the year because there is this solid base. And I would have just this one wish.
I just wanted to add to this, sorry, and this is again, it's the same as with law. I'm sorry, this is not for a goldfish because it's really easily doable. This one is easily doable and we have tried it. Whenever we persuade in Latvia 200 approximately persons that this have to be done, we get it. The point is that it's a question of repeating and repeating this need. And I really can imagine that we can have a list of 200 people which have to be persuaded, and then it's done.
All right, let's invite them for the
No,
next
not
hour.
invite. No, it's as. This is not how it's work.
I can see this discussion is actually happening. I will invite a continuous discussion over the lunch break. So thank you very much, all our panelists, and have a nice break. Thank you.